Hello and welcome. My name is Johan Holtby and this is a video tutorial series about how to use threads in Unity and how you could benefit from a tool which I have made. It's called LoadBalancer and it's published in the Unity Asset Store. This tutorial series is mainly about threading, even though it has its base in my tool. So this tutorial part is about converting existing code and some wrappers. This is since I got some feedback from a customer in the thread about this tool, and I have added this wrappers, and I've also taken up some part on how to convert existing code. For example, if you have a project which is not threaded and you want to thread it. Let's start looking at wrappers. Wrappers is a code piece which is wrapped around another code piece to make it more easy to use. This is add work wrapper. This makes it possible to have the main and threaded work in the same function, so you only need to call add work and not the separate functions which are the direct functions into the load balancer. We have another and generic wrapper, since normally you have to have object is the one and only input parameter for the function, but with this generic function you can use any parameter as a input for the function you are calling through the thread or the main. I have also done this in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, so you have 1, 2 or 3 or 4 parameters with whatever type you need. This makes it very easy, even though it's a small overhead, so I've still left the other stuff in the common area where you can access it in the interface. But this makes it possible to use any parameter like game objects, float, int, or whatever you have. This is a pure C# generic implementation wrapper. So let's look at the demo. Here we have a demo 4, and this is we use 1 parameter, and this is an int. We build 5 spheres in 1 frame, and we can also do the 2 parameter, build spheres 2 to 5, where 2 and 5 are 2 int parameters. They could be int, float, or whatever, and they don't have to be the same. And then we build sphere 2, 3, and 5. And you can note it takes 1.2 seconds, and in the next step we added float value to the 3 int values. So we have 4 parameter functions, so it builds 2, 3, and 5 and adds additional 3.5 seconds. So if you look at this value and reset system, it will be 3.5 plus 1.2 equal 4.7 seconds. And the code behind this, here we have it. So here we can see the 2 parameter, the add generic, work generic, type 1, type 2, and then we have the in main thread, since this can switch between in main thread and threaded world. And then we also have the generic work object, which has 2 types, type 1 and type 2. You can see how it looks here. But you don't need to have this in your function, you can do whatever you want. For example, if we go to the user interface and look in the builder, here we have the build all spheres with 2 parameters, start and stop. And this was the part where we had build sphere 2 to 5, start and stop. When converting existing code, there are some parts you need to think about. Most of Unity's API is not thread safe, so you cannot use, for example, some game object is not equal to null. And this is because it's a compare function. And also other standard Unity functions is not allowed in threaded world. You will get errors. And try to sort the code in what's need to be done in the main thread and what's not need to be done in the main thread, because this helps when you're executing, because then you don't have to switch that often between threaded world where you have a lot of horsepower or CPU time, and the main thread where you only have one CPU and you have to compete with all the other Unity stuff. Another part is that if you have time, try to refract the code to a model view control pattern. I use this when I use threaded code because then you have the view with the Unity API and the visual stuff and some simulation which is Unity specific. Then you have the model, maybe some data about where things are and what they're doing and so on. And then you have the control, which are the function which are performed on the model. The view only updates in the update function in the Unity standard update function and fetch the data from the model. And this makes it possible to use all the Unity API with the view, and then the model just holds the data and the control works in the threaded realm. So then you have separate everything as it should be. So thank you for watching. This was all for this part. If you have any good suggestions on what to add to the tutorial series, please comment below. I had a hard time getting started with threading in Unity, so I do this to help others. If you would like to have the source for this tool, it's on the asset store. See the link in the description. Thank you for watching. Bye.